Hello. Tonight I want to talk to you about Sarah and Rebecca. So, I read that Abraham went down to Egypt, one, and then Gerar, two, because of a famine. And both times he told his wife to say that you are my sister. She said okay. And at first I thought to myself, how crazy is that? Because after the first time she said it, Abraham had to go rescue his nephew Lot with 300 of his well-trained men. He said, I can't defend you because you're too beautiful. So tell him you're my sister. But then Lot got into trouble and he took his 300 well-trained men and went to fight for his nephew. Okay? But then, after asking God, like, what's up with that? And then waiting for an answer, he said, keep reading. So then I read, after she got taken the second time by another king, I read later on that Isaac and Rebecca went down to where they last were. So the first place was Egypt, the second place was Gerar. Isaac and Rebecca ended up in the same place. And here's what I discovered. Okay, so in Egypt, right, that's Genesis 12, verses 10 to 20. In Egypt, Pharaoh saw Sarai, and all his princes saw Sarai, and they were all like, ooh, she looks good, she looks good. So Pharaoh took her to his house. But the Lord God plagued his house, and he had to return her, and he blessed Abraham. Abraham prayed for them. And in Genesis 20, they went to Gerar because of a famine. And Abimelech, okay, the king of Gerar, his people saw Sarah, and he took her in his house. And to him, the Lord appeared in a dream and said, you a dead man tonight. Ugh. Let's not talk about how much I love to hear that line. Okay, but the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, you are a dead man. And he said, Lord, I didn't do nothing. He said, I know I kept you from doing anything, right? And he returned her. He blessed Abraham. Said, you should never done that. And Abraham prayed for them too. Now, here's the thing. Abraham could fight, so why didn't he fight for her? And here's what I learned. Isaac and Rebecca came to Gerar, and Rebecca told them the same story. Sarai told them, I'm a sister. Right? But this time the king did not take her into his palace. In fact, he left her alone. Right? He just kind of was like monitoring the situation. And from verse 7, in verse 7, he said, this is my sister. And in verse 8, the king saw. So it didn't take very long for the king to notice that Isaac and Rebecca are actually husband and wife, because they were sporting with each other. Some guess it's romantic teasing, as someone once explained it to me. Okay? And the king called him and said, hey, why'd you do that? Why'd you lie to us? Somebody could have took your wife. Somebody could have slept with her. And then I realized what was going on. Rebecca, Sarai, was taken twice to teach the king not to touch people's stuff. Abraham could fight. It's so true. But the Lord did not want him fighting for before Sarai because he needed Sarai to protect Rebecca. Sarai was taken, and the Lord defended her. It seems like only the Lord could defend Sarai in this particular case because he plagued the house of the first king, and then he appeared in a dream to the second king. Now, Abraham couldn't have done that. He probably could have fought with the king, but it would not have made such an impact in the king's life. There's some more words I can say, but I can't formulate the words I should say. But what I am going to say is this. Because Sarai followed Abraham's instructions, and because she was taken by the king, the Lord came in and defended her. And because the Lord made a bigger impact in the king's mind than Abraham and his 300 men, when Rebecca came through town, the king decided to keep his hands off. He didn't bring her to the house. He didn't try to marry her. He just watched from a distance. So I believe the Lord taught the king not to touch people's stuff. And what happened to King Pharaoh? Egypt was where they went first, and Gerar were close by. So it's not impossible that Pharaoh told the king of the Philistines, yeah, that man came through my place and he almost got me in trouble. My whole house was plagued up. The kings talk, you know what I mean? People talk. So somebody must have said something. But I guess what I wanted to say was Isaac couldn't fight. Not like his daddy. So God protected Rebecca. God protected Isaac by teaching the kings not to touch people's stuff. I feel like there was more to say, but I think that's all I should say for now. I mean, we thank God for covering Sarai, because could you imagine, right? But because she willingly obeyed her husband's voice, the Lord, one, protected her from the kings, and two, that protection went all the way down to Rebecca and covered her. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.